Greetings. So let's talk about comparative analysis. Many times on this AP test, they will ask you to do comparative analysis, a compare and contrast essay. And so here is what that looks like. And so you can see on the historical thinking skills on the AP site itself, explain how a historical development or process relates to another historical development or process. Comparative analysis. Now, what they're asking is not so simple as we think. One of the key skills is comparison and contrast. I would argue, though, that doing comparative analysis is way more complex than what we think it is. We see an essay like that and we think, awesome, I'm going to do some compare and I'm going to do some contrast, and then I'm getting out. It's done. But it's a little bit more difficult than that, and a little bit more, well, like everything on this exam, you must analyze. If the whole thing were just to talk about how something is similar and different, then the whole test could just be done as a chart. Like, why not just do it as a chart? It is not about that. It's about seeing the differences and similarities and using those to say something. So let's look at an example that's also from Unit 1, which is kind of where we're digging in right now a little bit. So if we think about the Inca, the Aztec, and the Maya, then we've got all three are practicing farming, right? Different types of farming. All three have technological advancements. All three are building massive pyramid structures. The Inca are advancing in irrigation systems and terraces and road building. The Aztecs are developing a calendar and those chinampas. And lastly, the Mayas are developing writing, math, their calendar, all sorts of advancements there. The geography of each is different. So we can talk about geographical differences. We've got the Aztec here in the middle of Mexico. We have on a lake in the middle of Mexico. We've got the, oh, and here it is again, Tenochtitlan. We've got the Inca down here, and then I've left the Maya off, but if we come right out here, we've got the Yucatan Peninsula with the Maya. Governance. All three are the Maya are city-states, so each city has its own leader. They're not an empire. The Aztec and Incan are empires. They have emperors over them, and they have a governing system that is organized under that emperor. In all cases, though, the regions are highly organized. The Incans, for instance, divide Peru into 4 regions with, of course, Cusco as their capital. Yay, Cusco. All three are polytheistic. They place heavy emphasis on nature gods. 2 of the 3 disappear because of invasion and disease. And then the Maya disappear, we think, because of environmental degradation, because they couldn't, they suffered a drought. They had overused the Yucatan Peninsula, so they can't guarantee their people anymore that the gods would provide rain, and therefore they start to disperse. All of that is great and amazing in terms of comparing and contrasting, but it is not enough. It is surface level. So what we're looking for is down deeper. We're looking for something at the heart of the relationship. So every comparative analysis question is not asking just for similarities and differences. It's asking about relationship. It's asking about the meaning of something. So if we look at this, analyze similarities and differences in governance related to 2 of the following 3 American states prior to the Columbian Exchange, or we could think about this with trade and economics in the Mughal and Ottoman, or political result of revolutions in Haiti and France. All things that we've talked about. Thinking about that thesis, we start with the simplistic. And so we start with simply, no, when we examine the various similarities and differences between these 3 states, we see that. So obviously you're going to talk about some of that, that beautiful detail. That's going to be sort of some of the meat of your essay, but that's not the whole thing. We need to move beyond that. We might think in this case then, in all 3 of those cases, guess what's happening? The empires are starting to expand, and when empires expand, watch out. They set up their own failure and eventually die. Oh boy, if you said something like that as your thesis, that's beautiful. There's some similarities, there's some differences, but here's what we see that is in common. They all start to expand, and it weakens the essence of who they are. You could talk about that with other empires as well. So it not only is a point for these two or three, it also relates to other empires, to current empires. It relates to current empires. Once they expand too much, they are in danger of dying, of losing the essence of what that empire was founded on. So that, I think, is another way of simply saying, use the similarities to get to the, and differences to get to the heart of the matter and to say something important. And what is that important? Here it is.